Well, a couple closing comments concerning the Hawaii game. First of all, I thought Hawaii played well. If you remember, last year's game was a close ball game. We beat them in overtime. This was a close ball game as well, and we came up on the short end of the stick. Certainly, I think Hawaii did some great things. They played a freshman quarterback who played well, and they're playing some good defense as well. There's certainly things that we can do better. We need to do better. We were able to run the ball pretty doggone effectively. I thought Nico Evans and the offensive line, some downfield blocking was really good. But we were not able to produce the number of points we were going to need to win the ball game. Defensively, we certainly got more pressure on the quarterback. That style of offense can cause problems as far as trying to get some pressure on the quarterbacks. I thought a lot of times we either were sacking him or hitting him right when he was delivering the football, which was positive. And we did score on defense, so that was a positive thing. They moved the football late and scored on us late. We're disappointed on that. We had a shot to win the game at the end, and we could manage some things better. We certainly, we ran out of time, but some of that's our own fault. We had to use some timeouts in some untimely manners at times, so we got to correct that. Got a lot to play for as we move forward. We're playing against a really good Fresno State team. I think they're doing a lot of things well. Currently, statistically, I think they're 9th in the country in total defense. I know they're ranked in the top 10 almost everything, and I think they're 2nd in the country in turnover margin. Quarterback is a really experienced player. They don't beat themselves, but he's completing, I don't know, I've got it down here, it's way higher than 70%. 72% is 6th in the country. And so we're playing against a football team that, they know how to win. They've been winning, and they came up with a very convincing win against Nevada last week. The only injury that we did sustain from the game, we'll find out a little bit more, was with Caden Jackson. He did not complete the game. I'll find out a little bit more today, where he's at. They're diagnosing him with a potential concussion, so we'll make sure we get some information there. But we came through the game relatively healthy, which is encouraging. I think Coach Rolovich is doing a good job with that Hawaii team. It's the first time he's been a head coach. Their home crowd, I think, was really loud, and that caused some problems for them. So kudos to Hawaii. Like I said, they beat us, and we got to get moving forward. So questions? Yes, Robert.
Craig, on the final play, I wasn't able to see it, but 1 second left, and then Tyler spiked it. I mean, did that all seem to make sense that just Tyler didn't maybe realize there was just the 1 second left, or did you think maybe there was supposed to be more time left?
No, you know what, we knew coming in, Robert, we looked at where we were at on the field. We looked at the number of seconds we had left. We felt like if we could throw the ball to the sticks, we could get a spike. You've got to have 2 seconds on the clock. I think we missed it by a second. And a lot of times you make decisions. We knew it was going to be tight. We thought, and what occurred on the play, the initial receiver was not open right away. Tyler had to scramble around a little bit more. That probably caused a second or two. And it was disappointing. We were kind of begging to try to see about getting 2 seconds on the clock. The official there ruled what was on the clock, and the game was done. In hindsight, you say throw it in the end zone. I think if we were able to throw the ball on time, probably would have been in a different position.
Craig, just your thoughts of where the offense is right now, just where
right.
Everything is kind of.
Well, I think we're sputtering. There's the statistics don't lie. I mean, I think we're struggling as far as point production. We're struggling as far as passing completion. I think that there's some bright spots. We went into this game saying we needed to establish a run, which we did, and so we need to build on that. But I think we certainly can't be one-dimensional, and so we got to open up the playbook some more this week. But I think when you have a talented running back like Nico, he's really worked hard. I think we're blocking well for him. We need to utilize that as a weapon. But the other aspects, whether it's staying on the field, third down conversions, that's way off. Our completion percentage is off, and certainly our point production is off. I think we're down in the hundreds on all those categories, so that needs to improve. Now, we've got a lot of season left. We've got a young quarterback that's back there. We've got to protect him better, and we need to be more balanced. But we're off. We're not playing efficiently enough for us to win ball games. Yes, sir.
Just to follow up on the offense, and look, you do have some young guys back there, but is there some? You just need to just keep coaching them up, or do you make some changes in some certain areas to try to spark it a little bit? What are your kind of thoughts moving forward?
Well, when you look at sparking an offense, I think the best thing you can do is just operate a little bit more efficiently. We're always looking at different personnel combinations, Robert. But we feel like Tyler is a quarterback that we need to continue to move forward with. We're certainly looking at different combinations with receivers. It certainly has helped to get Austin Fort back. I don't think he's 100% yet with his leg, but he was a weapon. Hopefully he'll come around. We have had a little bit of a lack of continuity in the offensive line, losing KJ last week hurt, but some of that's football. This week's going to test us, but we've got a lot of season left, and I think we cannot abandon what we're doing, but we've got to certainly fine-tune that. Yes.
With the number of sacks you guys have given up this year, how much is that protection on offensive line? How much is that maybe Tyler holding on to the ball too long?
I think it's a little combination of both. Certainly, one of the sacks that we gave up last game, that really had to do more. It was a combination of both, but the ball should have been out, and that's part of a young quarterback. There's certain passes that when you dial up a certain type of protection, when the routes are going to be longer, then that comes down to what's going on with your offensive line. But then there's other times that the quarterback's got to get rid of the football, and so that's a learning curve. We got to get better.
There's a lot better protection this time around than it was against Boise State. Darrell was able to stand back there and make those attempts. Do you think that the protection will need to be even better against Fresno State? Yeah,
I do. I mean, Fresno's probably one of the top defenses in the conference. However, I think Hawaii's pretty good. But we're going to continue to look at all the things we do. The bottom line is we've got to produce more points. If we're going to be successful, I think we're going to be playing good defense. But we've got to get to the point where our point total is increasing, and that's going to give us an opportunity to win games. Yes, Robert.
Dante, took over your punting chores. Was that kind of something you worked? I mean, I'm sure you worked him last week. Was that kind of, did you know he was going to be the guy, and kind of your assessment of him and him moving forward as a punter?
Well, we went into the game even all the way over the island, and we looked at both guys. Dante had punted in high school, and he's got a strong leg. A lot of the high school football fans in the state probably remember him. He was also a great soccer player, and he could have been a Division I soccer player. So we certainly started thinking outside the box. It's been a long time since I can remember you lose your punter for the whole year, and typically you're not going to have a whole lot of backing up, but we thought Dante did some good things in the ball game. I mean, he got the ball off. I think our net punting was pretty good. We had one that was brought back too far, and that really was not the punt's fault. So we'll continue to look at Dante this week. Right now we've got him down as our starter.
There were some misses on that punt return, a lot of missed tackles.
7 missed tackles.
At least.
7, I counted.
7.
There were 7. Let's just be clear, there were 7.
That's fair. So he's running through, and he's just slicing up guys. I mean, I understand tackling is a 101 kind of thing. You learn that from the onset. What has to be better in that special teams return?
Well, those guys got to tackle better, and we probably got to get the net better. But it was really disappointing, and that created some field position that was not to our advantage. Yes.
We did come back with a short week after Hawaii. You ever think about could there be a way they could guarantee a team an off week after Hawaii, or at least a home game in worst case scenario?
I asked Kevin there. I think
I think we should have one.
Yeah. Here's what I would say. We appreciate the University of Hawaii being in our league, and they bring a lot to the table. Obviously, they've got a really good football program. The travel is the logistics. That's a challenge. But Hawaii does it every week. But I think I had submitted a proposal if they could stage a bye week, not before you go to Hawaii, but when you come back. You know, that didn't get any wheels, any traction. So as coaches, you know what, you play what you're dealt with, and we're getting ready for a big ball game against Fresno where we're going on the road again. But I can tell you this, last year Fresno did the exact same thing. You know, they went out and they played Hawaii, and then they came back and they played here. So, and they were successful against us. So, you know what, our players, you know, I had some breakfast with them today. They're a little bit tired. Jet lag comes into play, but I think, you know, there's a resolve and focus that we want to improve on a lot of things, i.e. the punt coverage. That's got to improve. Our offensive efficiency needs to improve. We've got to do some things defensively that needs to improve. And so there's a lot of season left. I'm certainly excited about this ball game. Yes, Robert.
When you mentioned, talked a little bit about Fresno, it seems like they may be as complete a team in this league as anyone. I mean, they returned just about all those guys from last year. From what you've seen on film, are they about as complete a team as you've seen, at least to this point in the league?
I would have said Boise initially, and I know San Diego State. I watched that game, you know, at the hotel. San Diego State got after Boise. They didn't even look like the same team that played against us. And so Lou Holtz once said, you bring a different football team to the stadium every week. I do think how Fresno plays lends itself to tons of consistency. They don't give up a lot of explosive plays defensively. They keep the ball up in front of them. They complete 70% of their balls. They don't turn the ball over. They're number 2 in the country in turnover margin. You'd have to put them up there. If they're not the best, they're probably 1 or 2 of the best. Yes.
Carl, maybe one of his more active games of the season for you guys. I know it's been a slow start statistically compared to what he did last year, but what's kind of been the difference for him the last couple of weeks?
We cut him loose a little bit, and we felt like there would be an advantage that we would have with him going against a couple of their tackles, and it proved that was exactly how it came out. Carl's always gone out and played hard. I think we handcuffed him a little bit early in the season, but this was a disruptive game, not only for Carl, but Johanna a lot. I thought we got good pressure on the quarterback, and it was disruptive, and we probably just needed 1 more sack to get the game won. Yes?
What have you seen in Keon's development, kind of going opposite of Antonio?
Keon's really continued to own his work as far as his technique. I think he's done a good job staying focused and in phase. He's a physical player, and he runs well. You know, we certainly got tested. I think Boise got after him, but you're going to learn from that when you got a freshman guy out there, and he's a redshirt freshman. We're pleased with his progress.
Expect to have CJ this week?
I would say, I don't know what the term would, somewhere between hopeful and doubtful. Okay? At least, I had breakfast with him this morning. He feels like he's getting stronger, but you know, that's one of those things until the nerve generates and his strength level's not up there, not going to clear him, which is where we're at. Any other questions? Kenny, how are you doing?
I'm well, sir.
You're well. Okay, great. Thanks, guys.